this is Rosa, rcgkreations. How you doing? I'm bringing you today something new I haven't tried myself. It's called creamy sausage and potatoes. It's going to be ready in 30 minutes. 30. Anyway, let's get to cooking. Got my skillet. Let me read you the recipe like I normally do, and I'll do a pop-up with all the ingredients. 1 pound quality ground Italian sausage. We don't do Italian sausage because hubby doesn't care for Italian sausage. They put some kind of fennel or something in it and he don't like it. So we're going to use breakfast sausage. 1 medium onion chopped. 4 to 4.5 cups of potatoes diced into 1/2 inch chunks. You don't need to peel unless you want to. 2 tablespoons of flour. 1.5 teaspoons of salt. 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. 1 cup of milk and parsley, which is optional. So you want to fry your sausage and your onion until brown. Now, we went ahead and hubby cooked this because I made some of this for my other video, and you'll see that coming up. I made some breakfast calzones with this Italian sausage. But I'm thinking, when I was looking at recipes, I'm going, this would be really good for a dinner. But if I really like it, I think I'm going to put this filling for my next set of breakfast calzones, so that way it'll be sausage and potato with egg calzones. But I'm just thinking, I don't know. Who knows what I'm going to do? Okay, so let me just heat it because it was in the fridge. So let's heat this up. Let me get myself to medium heat. I don't need to get it really high. Let me add my onions in here. These are my frozen onions. I think I'm down to 1 bag and I have left, so I gotta go start adding onions to my grocery list. And the recipe does call for some liquid, so the water from the frozen onions will take care of that. I wanted to show you. See how I have 2 different sizes of onions? I've got one, I keep several baggies this size, several baggies this size, so I can determine what I need for whatever meal that I'm going to prep. And then I label the baggie diced, minced, long slivers, thick slivers, or whole rings when I'm prepping. Because I'll do on an average probably 15 to 20 regular yellow onions. I don't do red onions and I don't do white onions. I just do the yellow onions because that's the most favorite ones that we like. They're also the more cost effective at the grocery store. I did not do an onion harvest. I plan on doing it next year, but I opted out this year just because I ran out of room. I have a tiny, you know how I have a tiny kitchen? I have a tiny backyard. So it's like everything else. What's my favorite saying, y'all? Tell me what's my favorite saying? You make do with what you got. But next year I do plan on having a huge onion harvest. That's my goal. So now I'm just sauteing and heating up the sausage. So in theory, this is really, let's eat breakfast for supper. Because this is breakfast sausage. I'm just chopping up some of the meat. They've got a little bit bigger chunks than we wanted. Onions. Okay, now I can saw all this together. Okay. So the recipe says fry the sausage and the onions until it's brown. But it's already brown, so all I'm going to do is heat it up. Add enough water to cover the sausage and then simmer for 10 minutes. I got my water pitcher right over there. We use a, I forget what you call this. Oh, a pure water pitcher filter. Hubby, city water's okay, but hubby prefers it filtered, so it is what it is. I'm totally okay with out of the faucet filter because we are in the city. That was a big chunk of onion. I'm breaking it up. The onions are big pieces, so when I serve hubby his plate, I know I can take the onions out really easy because he don't like raw cooked onions. I love them, so I'll eat them all. Okay, so let me just smooth that out. Okay, so add enough water to cover the sausages, then simmer for 10 minutes. Okay, I think that's enough. Let me go get my lid. Let me make sure all the sausage is under the water. Okay, so that's all set. I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes and we'll bring you back. Because the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what the recipe says to do. After you add enough water to cover the sausage, then you simmer for 10 minutes. Do not drain it. And you notice that it says you cook your fry your sausage and your onion. It did not say to drain the oil, the grease from the sausage, because all sausage makes grease. It didn't say to drain it. So for me personally, I would put a paper towel in here and drain up all that excess oil because I don't care for that myself. But it didn't say to do it, so I don't know. So my first time making it, so we'll see. Okay, and then while the sausage is cooking, you want to dice up your potatoes, but I went ahead and diced them up already. These are my frozen potatoes. I'm down to 2 packages of frozen potatoes that I processed myself. Okay, because you got to, what do you call that? You got to blanch your potatoes before you freeze them. The same as you got to blanch your potatoes before you dehydrate them. Otherwise, they turn black. They're still good to eat, but they turn black. Okay, so I already did my potatoes. I went ahead and threw a little baby. Let me show you how I'm going to do this. This is so cute. I only planted one. They're dwarf bell peppers. Look at that. Look at my hand. They're not the great big giant one. But you know what? Hubby don't care for bell pepper. I do. I'll eat it just bite into it just like this, or I'll eat it in salads. But I got 3 that I harvested today. One's going to be in there with the potatoes. And then my 2 little babies. But aren't they so cute? Perfectly round. And I already tasted one that I cut up. It tastes like a real bell pepper. So I'm an official vegetable gardener. Okay, so after you cook for 10 minutes, see, I see it simmering. You know, and you notice this recipe here, it didn't even say medium heat, high heat, low heat, simmer. Again, I don't know. That's the whole thing with when you're getting recipes off the internet or a recipe book. They don't tell you all these little details as a new cook. I don't know what I'm doing. So we're just going to go with it. I got this on a medium heat, and we'll see what happens. Then we're going to add the potatoes and my little slivers of bell pepper, salt and pepper. Cover and simmer potatoes for another 10 minutes. And then add to the sausage potato mixture and cook on low. What are we adding? What are we adding? Cover and simmer until the potatoes are tender, about 10 minutes. While the potatoes are cooking, whisk the milk and the flour together. Smooth it up, and then we'll put it together some. We'll bring you back when we come to that next phase, okay? We'll bring you back. Okay, we're back. 10 minutes. Excuse me. Okay, so now we're going to add the potatoes and the bell peppers. Because these are blanched and frozen. When you do it this way, you won't have to cook it as long because they're already part cooked because they're blanched. You blanch them in boiling hot water for 3 minutes. Then you put them in an ice cold bath. Then you dry them up. Then you lay them flat on a cookie sheet on top of parchment paper. Then put the potatoes on top of the parchment paper on a cookie sheet. Then you flash freeze them for an hour. Then you put them in your vacuum seal bag, and I use the out of air vacuum seal bags. I have an affiliated. I'll put it in the description box. Affiliated link. And they are so good. Those bags are the best. I'm really very, very happy I partnered with them. Okay, so now we got to do our seasonings. At the potatoes, salt and pepper to the meat. Salt and pepper. And I'm just going to eyeball it. It asks for 1/4 teaspoon, but I'm just going to eyeball this. I never know how much salt's going to get in here because we're so humid here in Texas. Sometimes it's clumps and sometimes it doesn't. Today, no clumping. Get all that. I should have dried my hands off before I did that, but oh well. It is what it is. Now let's give it a big stir. Then we're going to cover the lid again, and we're going to let it simmer for another 10 minutes. I probably won't have to do it that long because these potatoes are already soft from the blanching. So I'm just going to come out. So come back whenever and poke a couple of potatoes, some of the bigger pieces. And when you can poke a fork right through it, then that means that potato is done. Because you don't want to overdo it because then they're going to get mushy. Okay, so when we come back, we're going to come back for a milk and flour slurry to add on to this to make it creamy. Okay, so we'll bring it back for the next phase. Now I'll probably say about 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, so potatoes are practically done. I'm going to get my milk and flour. I'm going to stir it up with a whisk, just like it says. We're going to make this into a little slurry. And bring it up here so you can see what I'm doing. You just want to make sure there's no lumps. All the flour is incorporated with the milk. And it doesn't say turn down the temperature or anything. Oh, yes, it does. I'm sorry. Take it back. Before, when you did the potatoes, you left it on the same heat. But it didn't say what temperature, like I said a while ago. Okay, but I know my potatoes are done. So now we're going to add the sausage and potato mixture and cook on low to medium heat just until thicken. So I'm going to turn this down on low. I'm going to add this on here. I had some flour in my hand there. And then we're going to just slowly stir until it thickens up. It smells so good. I wish we had smell-o-vision. Can you smell it? This will be good over some biscuits. Can't have biscuits on my weight program. I would love some. And I do have crescent roll dough that I made when I made my breakfast calzones, I saved a batch for, it's actually enough for 2 batches for me and honey. So, it's already starting to thicken. Look at that. Look at that. See how it's starting to thick? Let me turn up my heat just a little bit. It just said low, but it didn't say what is low to me. It could be low, different low to you. Depends on your stove. And you can't see any of the onions at all. But then it is white cream sauce. But you can see the bell pepper, so I'll be able to know exactly when I put it on my hubby's plate. So I can pick them out, so he don't have to eat them. Oh, there's an onion, one of those great big long ones. See that? Those are mine. I'm gonna let this simmer a little bit longer. I'm gonna set my timer for 3 minutes. I think that's gonna be enough to let it simmer. And we'll bring you back, and then we're gonna do the taste test. Okay, it's been 3 minutes, and it's definitely a lot thicker. So I'm calling this ready. Look at that. Let me get a, you know what, instead of using plates, we're going to use bowls. And instead of forks, we're going to use spoons. Okay, off. I want all the green beans and the onions. So I'm going to pick those first. I'm going to save me some for lunch because I definitely have enough for lunch tomorrow. Okay. Where I put my towel? I don't know where my towel is at. So I just wipe down the rim. I'm going to leave this over here so I can taste it. Poor hubby his. Let mine cool off just a minute. Oh wait, he don't get no bell pepper, no big onions. I'm just going to let that cool for just a few minutes. Oops. I see an onion. Oop, there's another onion. Oop, there's another big onion. Let's put that one over here. I've got a bunch. Pretty much, he don't got no onions in his. I pulled them all out. So let's make his nice and pretty. So let's turn you over so we can do the taste test. Okay. So this is my take on creamy sausage and potato skillet ready in 30 minutes. We'll get some sausage and some potato. And a little bit green brings a little color to the dish. Mmm. 2 thumbs up. That Italian sausage is phenomenal. the seasonings with just enough salt. And all it was salt and pepper. Because you got to remember, breakfast sausage and Italian sausage is already seasoned. So you don't have to add a whole lot of seasonings. So, like if you're in between paydays and you don't have enough seasonings, make this. Use your breakfast sausage or Italian sausage, whichever one that it is you have. And you don't have to worry about adding any more additional seasonings to it. Besides this regular salt and pepper. Only because potatoes are starch and they need salt. Let me have a little bit of bell pepper. That bell pepper is just crunchy, not hard, and it's not too soft because I don't like bell peppers that are soft. Even when I cook with bell peppers, I like them to have some crunch. So anyway, this is my take on creamy Italian sausage, which is actually breakfast sausage, and potatoes. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. Take care now. Bye-bye. We're going to go eat. Take care.